Was staying on pre-election matters, the Chief of Defense Staff, General Leo Irabor, has pledged that the 2023 general elections will hold in a peaceful environment across the country. The defense chief stated this during opening ceremony of the defense retreat, where he launched the national military strategy to give a definite direction for personnel to operate seamlessly in the fight against insecurity in the country. Iken Amechi has more.
As the military continues to engage bandits, insurgents, hoodlums, kidnappers and other criminals in different parts of the country, it is pertinent to reappraise their efforts in order to have a better result going forward. This is one of the reasons for the defense retreat here in Asaba. The event was accompanied by the launch of the National Military Strategy as guide for the 4-day practical session to ensure it is all-encompassing towards the fight against insecurity.
The National Military Strategy was developed to provide a platform upon which our joint and respective services doctrine will stand. The defense retreat is thus designed to be very engaging and interactive, of course with no holds barred. In line with my desire for decision-making to be a collective approach of active participation.
Governor of Delta State considered this move by the military as timely.
It will always be expected of the armed forces to review the operational strategies, perceive trends, evaluate information, and consider strategy in view of emerging security threats.
Minister of Defense, while admitting that there is a lot to be done to improve security across the country, tasked participants to do holistic reviews of the armed forces.
I therefore urge you all to use this retreat to carefully examine the various statutory documents and policies that guide the establishment and deployment of the armed forces to ensure that they are in tandem with the prevailing and future realities.
The Chief of Defense Staff also speaks about the upcoming 2023 general election and security situation in the country.
Of course, there are concerns, and we admit and they're quite manifest. The take-home is that it will keep improving, and we will live in peace. And of course, talking about the coming elections, the elections will hold in an environment that will enable everyone to exercise their franchise.
At the end of this 4-day retreat here in Asaba, it is expected that the rich deliberation and ideas that we emanate here will help to boost the security architecture in the country. Iken Amechi, TVC News.
Let's now turn our attention to the ASUU strike. Students of the University of Ilorin have staged a protest calling on the federal government to yield to the demands of the striking Academic Staff Union of Universities. The protest was held in front of the university gate without hindering vehicular movement. Armed with placards, the students are unhappy that the federal government has allowed the strike to continue unabated. They say they are tired of sitting at home and called on the government and ASUU to come to an amicable resolution in the interest of the nation. The student threatened to shut down the country should the federal government and ASUU refuse to resolve the issue by next week.
We are tired of staying at home. We have graduates that are tagged hanging graduates. They cannot graduate. And that is why we have decided that if we do today, next week federal government is meeting ASUU's national executive. Let them come to a common ground next week. If they don't come next week, we will come back to the streets, and that time is going to be very tough. And that is why we are persuading, we are pleading the federal government, we are begging the ministers now. But as at that time, we don't want them to come and beg us, and that's why we have come now. Because next week, after their meeting phase, we hope it does not fail.
It's very important, it's very pertinent that federal government settle ASUU strike immediately, because this is just a peaceful demonstration, as the president said the other time. If the strike should persist, we are not going to rest. We are going to take this demonstration far beyond this place. We are going to block major roads in Ilorin. We are going to make sure we cripple the economy until the federal government attend to ASUU and reopen our university. And this is not going to be happening in Ilorin only. It's going to be happening across the country.
Let's turn to the aviation sector. The House of Representatives has mandated The Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation company to supply aviation fuel to airline operators at 480 naira per litre for the next 3 months. This is part of the resolution at a meeting called by the leadership of the House to mediate in the crisis over high cost of Jet A1.
Airline operators have never had it so bad. The high cost of aviation fuel threatens their continued existence and business. This is coming at a time citizens find it difficult to travel by road owing to insecurity. The high cost of aviation fuel has led to a hike in airfares, but in spite of this, airline operators say they can no longer cope. This is why they have reached a resolve to shut down operations. The House promptly called for an emergency sitting, but called it off later. It is not the first time it has waded into this matter, but it appears its resolutions then were not implemented. This meeting is to find a lasting solution to the perennial crisis. Having listened to all key actors, the meeting, which lasted over 3 hours, agreed that the interim NNPC should supply Jet A1 to airline operators for the next 3 months at the rate of 480 naira per litre against the 700 naira that currently obtains. In the long term, airline operators are to commence the process of licensing to import uptake. In the long term, airline operators are to commence the process of licensing to import aviation fuel.
For everything he read out here, it was about 530 or thereabouts. 540 as the cost. How then are some people now offering us 480?
There is no fixed price. This is a deregulated product. So you cannot hold on to any price. And indeed, what you have seen in the media, the 700 naira reference point cannot be a reference point. It depends on the market condition. It can be higher than 700 naira per litre.
If right now you will begin or commence the process of application for your own license to be able to import your own jet fuel, so that will remove whether it's middleman, whether it's fourth man, whether it's whatever, whether it's the vagaries of, you will know the landing cost and you will know it will assist you in your business.
As part of the gains of the meeting, the airline operators agreed to call off the suspended shutdown once NNPC commences the supply of aviation fuel. Joke Adisa, TVC News, Abuja.